Good morning, traders. All right, welcome to the All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. All right, and we're going to go through the live order flow analysis here in any market that we can connect to that you guys want to take a look at. Truly, it seems S&P is the most popular, so we continue to look at that until we get other requests. Anyway, the goal here in the webinar is to learn order flow in the live market. We can do that because it's order flow. We can read the behavior of other traders and give insight to where we think price may go next. It is not a trading room. It is about reading and understanding order flow and integrating that within your trading. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. The risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's jump in, and something really sticks out here right away. As you guys can see on the chart, it just dwarfs everything. Now, this is the CPI data from this morning, and very, very bullish. Well, the market took it that way for sure. So we see this dramatic rise in the S&P 500. And then look at the volume behind this, guys. This is like when we talk about momentum. Here it is. I mean, obviously this is the big move in here, but we're going to take a step back here and look at the other charts, and then we'll come back and talk about momentum in here in the order flow and the transactions. All right, so the bigger picture here, we've talked about this for a while. This is turning into a flag pattern here on the daily. We noted that potential last week. Actually, I didn't mention it yesterday. But this is the potential that we have here, and to come right up into this area right up in here, these previous swings here where the market broke down, and we're just about there. So I have 11 as the, or 11 or 12 as the swing high up here. So I imagine we're going to see maybe an exploration up into that area. However, this move, in terms of its average true range, is pretty much done. Look at all of these candles in here. We had all sorts of events and FOMC and non-farm and geopolitical tensions. And look at the size of the moves. Okay, this is one of those, one of the biggest. So not looking for much from this webinar. Still looking for, the test up here, this swing high, but that may happen later in the day. We'll read the order flow in here, but it's really, the move is rather done here. Anyway, that's the read. For those of you who have taken a look at our flag pattern content in here, you can go to the more button here from bookmap.com and then go to the learning center in here and the strategies and setups here. Okay, we talk about continuation, momentum strategies, and continuation patterns, and we just cover a simple flag pattern. They're really all very, very similar, and we break down the components here and understand what's behind them. In this video here, it is in diagram form. In this one here, we make the translation from diagram form to seeing it within Bookmap and understanding the order flow. And the last one here, the third one, the most important one, is then how to execute around it. Okay, it's it's just an idea for you to go back and to study and look at the behavior of traders in here to give you an edge for the continuation pattern. right? So we have a checklist, things to look for, and we're going to go through that today as well, what we're looking for. There's also one more section in here. It contains a checklist. You can click on that and you get access to this checklist in here that you can go through and check off what you're looking for in here. I really recommend that you do this. We have a new tool in Bookmap as well that I've been demoing. I haven't made it available to most of you. I think maybe it's just a few. To use that tool to lean on that behavior of previous traders to give you more that potential for that move to unfold. We have some practice files in here as well, and then also examples from Bookmap Insights in here. All right, so good stuff in there. Now let's take a look at and see what's going on within Bookmap. All right, so we'll cover the hourly and the 15-minute chart here very, very quickly, but you can see the huge gap here. This is obviously clearly the data and then some. And the data was at 8:30. We get the dramatic move, and then another hour or so before the cash open, and then just this little move to the upside so far is what we're seeing on the hourly as well as here on the 15-minute. All right, so let's take a look at Bookmap and the order flow in here and what's going on. All right, so we left off here talking about momentum and understanding momentum. All right, so hold on a minute here. Let me get into the chat. And I'm missing anything here. Oh, it looks like I'm caught up. Okay. Yeah, Stephen, good content there. I'm going to go through more that's in line with what you had posted in here. Yeah, we're going to also open up Market Pulse and go through it in more detail as well for momentum plays. All right. So anyway, the momentum in here, like, well, first off, the big huge move in here, and it's almost all buying. And then look at all of the volume dots in here. Look at all the volume bars down here. Now these are delta bars and dots. So you footprint traders out there know what these mean here. That the delta bars down here, it doesn't have a number, but it's basically the same concept. It's just graphical. We can zoom in here and get into the details of it as well. It breaks down these into other time frames. I mean, look who's just dominating the price action. There's no question about it, right? Look at all of this liquidity in here. Buyers trade through it. There's some back and forth here in the cash open. There's a lot of stuff going on, but by far the most of it, the trading in here is aggressive buying, and after that back and forth, the buyers finally take it here and take it higher up into high liquidity up here at the figure 4,500. All right, and we continue on, and we almost made it up into this 10 level, and 10 or 12 is kind of what we were talking about earlier as the swings. So now look at the momentum up into here as well. You can see the nothing. I mean, tremendous buying. Okay, very little transactions on the pullback here. The buying starts to come in again, and then the cash open, tremendous buying, and then it just tapers off. But there's still buyers in here lifting that higher. It's not until just recently up here do we see some selling that really starts to show up on the delta bars down here. Okay, and then also here. All right, so like we were kind of looking at the fuel in the ATR or ADR up in here, we're kind of running out. This is as much buying as we can kind of handle for the day compared to all of the other price action and candles in here. All right, one thing to note before we get back into Bookmap in here, this move in here, we talked about this. We had two huge fundamental news events. Okay, we had FOMC followed by non-farm. They were both bullish, right? So a pretty easy week, I think. The next week here, all this chop back and forth was difficult. Okay, on Friday we saw the momentum and the move higher. We covered that one pretty well. That happened during the live webinar, which was good. And we ended up here at these swings. And then just yesterday, a little bit of a back and forth day. We're still looking for the move higher, but pretty choppy. Now we have the follow through. Okay, so we have really strong, powerful move, some back and forth chop, which is actually pretty bullish here. These pullbacks are not deep at all. And we close up here on Friday. Monday, we have a small little inside day here. We have our CPI data off to the races, up to the upside here. All right, so the flag, or this kind of continuation pattern, is also present here on the daily. All right, you can see it on other time frames in here as well, and many different examples in here with Bookmap. All right, so now let's start to read and understand the order flow, though. All the way through here, I thought this was a pretty easy read. I know that it's mostly buying in here. I'm buying dips, selling maybe top of the range, or holding for longer position in here. Okay, again and again and again, right? We know the buyers are certainly in control. So we're just looking for good entries for continuation. All right, so let's see here. Any questions? No, looks like we're pretty good. Let me look over in YouTube here. David, interesting. Okay, TOS just killed the ES symbol. Don't know what happened over there. Yeah, Rich, I think well, is it good? Is it okay to short? Well, this is where you'll really you really need to dig into the details here in the order flow, because yeah, we're getting up there. If the order flow starts to shift and change, and the momentum starts to shift and change, yes, you're looking for a short. Right now, it's like I said, this is not a trading recommendation or trade following room in here. We will go through the order flow and we'll do it in real time. And just note that we still haven't really come back up into those swings yet, and we're going to get some back and forth in here. So the easy trading is, I think, rather finished. But we can start to zoom in here and look at other things in here. So for example, right now, this selling in here, I mean, here come the buyers, right? So it's already breaking out of this range here, and likely we'll get the test right up. Well, we're already there basically to this swing here, or at least these sellers in here. That's already happened. So now we're just looking for those buyers to curl in again here, and a continuation move on up into 08, and maybe we'll get our 10 here. Okay, now what else do we have on our side? We're leaning on all of that previous volume. Okay, this breakout here in strong volume, and this volume in here, the aggressors, right? Now we don't have on our side the order book. Okay, so this is where it gets really kind of tricky up here. So we want to see a bullish book supporting this move to the upside. Instead, look at this. This trader came in at 07.5, right? With more liquidity at a lower level here on the offer. And now they just pulled it, or some of it transacted. So looking for buyers to trade up to 08. And let's see if they can here. We just exhausted out actually here, but yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, there's not a whole lot transacting up here. Not a whole lot. So I don't know what I feel about this in here. Yeah, without the buying up in here, and we don't have a bullish book, it's basically hands off. There's some key elements in here that we're looking for that are not showing up right now. Okay, we do have the strong move though, okay, and the continuation. That's a good thing. All right, so this is what could happen when we don't have the order book supporting us, okay, underneath. All right, so we can come back down into this liquidity, down into this area here, and the swing, okay, and knock some of these traders out of the market, okay, and then we'll see if the buyers come back in and move it back up, and in the short term here, we're looking for above this 06. 06 and a quarter, and then buyers up into here, okay, and then we can get maybe these big green dots to pull it up into our 10 level. Okay, all right, so yeah, we avoided that, yeah, I think it's going to be kind of tricky in here for the rest of the session here. That's okay. I mean, we're here to read the order flow. Let's see other questions in here. Yeah, Rich, in terms of you saying, is it short okay now? Well, I'm not going to say okay. Let's go through it though. I mean, like, this is why we're here, and in fact, this is what this Bookmap Academy. If you, Rich, if you're interested in joining that Bookmap Academy, this is what we will give you feedback on your markups, your chart markups, so that you can start to become an expert. And instead of like saying, is it a short okay, you will say something like, this is what I have: high liquidity being filled on the offer on the way up. We get a higher high up here. We get exhaustion by the buyers into high liquidity here, and maybe a stop run as well. And then we start to see sellers curl back in over here, and we don't have the order book supporting us. So we're looking for it coming down into here as the first stop, right? This liquidity and this swing here. Now it took its time to get there, and actually that's where it broke down from, okay? It kind of went back and forth in here for a bit before coming down here, and then it just flew through there, right? But we would go through that instead of like, is a short okay up here, right? We'll look at these details in here, these players' behavior, to give us insight that this may unfold. All right, and these elements are, I mean, this is what makes up the trading. It's the aggressors, okay, which is the market buy and sell orders here that move the market. Red dots market sell, green dots market buy. It is the liquidity here, limit buy orders on the bid below current price, limit sell orders above. And then it's also about the market structure. And market structure is a really key element. Within that market structure, we want to understand that context between the aggressors and the liquidity. Now, I think we talked about yesterday spoofing. Someone mentioned spoofing. And we have some nice little ignition algos in here, stair-stepping up, trying to push that market higher. And let's see here. Do they actually get filled? Looks like they didn't get filled here, and it looks like they may have gotten filled in here. Hard to tell. But we have another one in here. Now this one too, like it's kind of hard to tell in here, and I don't. I mean, you can just see it like almost like literally the shadiness of this here. I mean, look at this stair stepping here. It's an algo, pulling, adding higher, pulling, adding higher. Even the time frame here is all equal, and then it stays here. And then it looks like at the last second, it kind of goes up one more step, but on very light liquidity in here, and gets filled. Okay, so now, is that an ignition algo trying to ignite stops back up above the swings up in here? Well, yeah, it looks like it to me, but then they got filled in here, potentially got filled in here. And not much though. You can see it's totally reduced risk. It's very light in this area here. In fact, we can use our tool here to see that on the bid 136 where it was 210 here. So you know they're maybe they're taking some risk, but it's light, and then therefore it is not a spoof, okay, or ignition. But you can see the algo working it. So anyway, these are some of the details to kind of dig into in terms of the spoofing elements. Anyway, I guess answering Rich's question about the short in here, I really don't see anything until it's a bit late in here, to be honest. I mean, this is pretty nice up here, and actually up in here it's not so bad either. There's some buying in here, but you can start to see that selling coming in, right? And then up in here, there's not a whole lot of buying. We see the selling starting to come in, and you see where they come in here. The market drops. We'd look for it to go a little bit further, but then it hacks around in here and retests right here several times. Finally exhausts out here. It looks like it wants to break out. You know, I would look for maybe these buyers in here to reach 10 at that time. Just not enough. It can't get back up above this area here. It exhausts out on the buy side, and the sellers come in and are able to drive this market quite a bit lower here, down about 7.5 points or so to about 4,500 the figure, and we do get some support there. All right, so and then here we go. We were looking for this scenario in here. Now we can basically take this these drawings in here and kind of move them over a bit, and we got our breakout over here. Right, so we didn't get it here. We got one more move below the swing in here, and then now we're getting it here, and then here's our 10 just trading right now. Okay, it's still looking for our 12 or 13 here, but that swing high for the day here. So maybe it's 14. So anyway, I want to see it kind of spike above that swing. Actually, this has been, we have all this the narrative in here in the news, and we're leaning on that here with the technicals, is that the data is bullish for the market, and the market is ripping to the upside. Okay, and we just had the CPI is completing this continuation pattern right now. All right, so yeah, still looking for a bit higher here. I'm looking for these buyers to really move the market. So we have liquidity up here at 15. So yeah, let's see for the see if the buyers can lift it up into 15 here. Okay, still more buyers. Let's see, we got 13.5, 13 up here. Now I still think it's going to be all that easy in here. We're going to get these pullbacks, and these sellers rip it back down to, well, here at 10. That's the first stop, and then also down here at 9. But this is exactly what we want to look for. We've seen this move just so many times. This should break out up here. And then what we get is the trap buyers, a shakeout or a move back down into these previous swings, and see if we can get some stops triggered. And then the buyers will come rolling back in, and then we'll get our move, right? So especially in the S&P, we see this so many times. Most markets do something like this, but the S&P rotates a lot more than most markets. So this happens pretty frequent. Okay, now looking good now. Let's see, do we have the order book though? No, not really. Better. It's getting a little bit better, but so is the offer here. So, I mean, you can read the delta in here again. So it's not as easy as before. There is some selling in here, in these little pockets in here. Okay, so maybe we need to rotate back down again, and then find buyers to rotate it back up. Let's see, anyone else in here? Deborah, good morning. Lean on buy the dip, Caddy. Buying the dip just it can be really kind of tricky too. What I mean, it's a great way looking at the bottom of ranges, right? And then the just like in here, but here you don't want to quite buy it yet, right? I mean, like you have your reasons, like this little bit of buying in here, and we also have the range, or this kind of swing in here. It's high liquidity at 10. We have some things in here to take a look at, but we just don't know how much supply there is yet still, right? The sellers may trade into this and through it. So we got to look in some of these areas in here, and then look for like the buying starting to come in above in here. See how this is how the microstructure can be really helpful for you, is to start to understand the narrative in here. Between the buyers and sellers in here. Now, selling is hitting the bid in here, but failing to get into 10. And then, very little buying up in here. And then finally, we get buyers starting to transact up here. Okay. So once we can start to do that, I mean, the sellers may roll in and they may hit the bid really hard. It's happened many times over. But typically, if we start to get the buyers back up at the top of the range in here, you can look for them to test. And it's only a couple ticks here, but we're talking about much smaller time frames here. You can look for the test up here. It's only a few ticks, right? Or the other swing, which would be up here, or the liquidity up here. Okay, so you can see the buyers roll in. Here's our selling in here, very little. More buyers here, still looking for it to go higher. These guys pull. We don't have the order book still behind us, even though they are pulling on the offer. Okay, so we do get up into this 13 level, and then it's been back and forth in here. Okay, and here we are, current market. All right, so let's see. Now, same ideas in here, right? Let's take a look at it. We have in this range in here, we do have, there's buyers up here. Okay, so can they return again? Can they return again? Yep, not only can they return again, they can break out. Right, so there's our breakout, and now we're just looking for, and it's going to be a stop run. So and they are auctioning up here though. Right, so Let's see if we can get a bit more, and then the move to 15. Okay, buyers. Now they should be able to push it up. And we do have the order book underneath us here. Okay, and there's our move to 15, and you cover, right? So I know that's a scalp for a point, right? But it's the same process though, right? We're trying to learn something from the behavior in here. So actually it could have been 2 points from 13 on up to 15. Right now, look, the risk management, the execution is not as easy as that. It's a lot more challenging. Likely, if you were really quick, maybe you got in at 13 and a half. It would have gone against you a little bit in here, and then you can see that you probably would have held though, or you would have, God, you could even add it in here, and then taking it up to 15. Now that's a scalp, right? But again, it's the same ideas here on the higher time frames. Okay, and yeah, and then look at up here. Okay, so now where are we? Bigger picture first. Okay, we're up here. Okay, so when we started the webinar, we're not looking for a lot here today. It's already happened. So you know, I would be really surprised to see us if I mean, price, we never know, right? It can do whatever it wants, but we can just look at the past in here and look at the size of these moves in here. This is a big one, right? So we're not looking for a whole lot more here out of it, right? And 15 was our target basically. So it's been achieved. Okay, so now the whole picture here in terms of the longer time frame structure is different. Okay, so Caddy, did I answer your question about the pullbacks? Okay, pullbacks like in some of these areas in here, you know, just wait until you see a bit more coming in, and on that buy side, it helps confirm it, right, as best you can. I mean, you give up a few points in here, but you just don't know, or a few ticks, you just don't know how much supply is in here. Okay, so again, leaning on this move and this delta in here on the buy side, and then this is a pullback to an area of support, and then the buyers start to come back in. So instead of just kind of willy-nilly putting your limit order down in here, now, you know, hey, maybe that works for you. I mean, sometimes you get just amazing entries in things like that. But the problem is you can also just get really easily run over, right? Because this trader in here could be a bigger player who just sells, and it would very quickly come down to 09, from 10.5 to 09. Right, so that can even happen here, right? We don't know, we never know. That's why you use a stop, and you're looking for this to work immediately, and if it doesn't, like, you know, something's wrong. All right, let's see here. What's the mean area in the heat map? It's buyers. Well, so you're talking about order book and balance, is that right? Mudassir. Yeah, well, we have order book and balance up here for the chart range. We also have the support and resistance market pulse tool that we can go over. Okay, that'll give a good view of the order flow. Yeah, I mean, here, Caddy, here's actually pretty nice pullback on a higher time frame. Okay, so here's a move into high liquidity up here. It breaks out. It pulls all the way back here, and then it trades into high liquidity, and then you can start to see the now this is where you're looking. This is where you're looking for the buyers to be above, right here. Okay, because here's the supply, and here's where that shifts and changes here. Okay, right in this area here. Okay, so this 0175 area right here. Right, so it came all the way back down to the figure here, but you had to give up like, you know, more than 1.5 points, 1.75 to get clarity that buyers are starting to roll back in here. Okay, and then we have the potential squeeze. And then we start to look for previous structural areas and transactions of liquidity, okay, or breakdowns, or liquidity on the offer. Yeah, so let me answer the question with the order book and balance. We'll look at the market pulse tool, and then we'll look at the support and resistance in here. In fact, why don't we look at support and resistance in balance here? We haven't looked at that one much. All right, here it is. And let's see here, the support and resistance in balance. Let's go to the settings. Let's go to delta percentage here. Okay, so that gives us the peaks, you know, up into above 70 or below 70 in here. All right, so this is another thing to take a look at in here, where, you know, we had a pretty big imbalance. Okay, and we're getting another one. See the on the offer here, we have this imbalance, and it's very clearly showing, or we can even very clearly hear it. So there's supply up here, right? And we've traded back down now. All right, so Caddy, now is this a potential here? Okay, for a low volume, well, maybe not a low volume, but a pullback by the dip type of idea. Let's see right here. Okay, so here we have some buyers starting to come in. Now we have sellers though. Okay, buyers again. Okay, all right, buyers, let's see here if you can take this. Nope. No, and then look at the offer in here. So not enough buying here, but we're still looking for them to come back up above 13 here, and then we can get the potential move up into 15. Okay. So no, it's broken down below this, and we're looking for a potential squeeze now. Quite a bit of selling. Okay, very well might come down to 10 now. It's not clear right now, right? So our first scenario was up to here, buyers, and then the move higher up into 15. Our second scenario is up to about here, and then continuation into 10. And we're getting a nice cluster of buying in here. So yeah, I still don't like it though. I can see this kind of liquidity here on the offer. See the bluish area in here? So we're not getting a whole lot of buying. All right, so sellers starting to come in. Let's look for the second scenario here. Sellers actually below here, where this buying came in. Okay, so let's see if we can get that. No. And why I was looking for that was I did not see the big green dots up here. Okay, we're getting it now, right? But I did not get them up here. So it's like, okay, not getting them here, starting to see sellers here. Okay, sellers, but you got to get down below here. Then we're looking for our move back down into 11 and into 10. Okay, so instead that first scenario played out once we got the buyers back up here. Now, you didn't get much out of that. We did not see it here. I was looking for it. I saw this one. It was countered. I saw some buying. And I thought, well, maybe that's enough to get it up here. It clearly wasn't until we got over here. All right, so now we got our move. Wow, and continuation. Look at that. Okay, order book still supporting underneath. And that's a big stop run there too. Order book under 15.5 here. Next liquidity level, that's a good question. 20 up here. Anyway, yeah, a little tricky in there. Now hindsight's pretty easy, right? In hindsight, this selling in here below this swing here and here is now the stop run, but also the trap. You can see we know the pattern we're looking for. We actually thought it would happen here. Did one more and then it happened. And then not only did we get to 15, but to 17. Again, hindsight is pretty easy, but trying to read this in the real time here is a bit more challenging. Because this is exactly what we were looking for. On a minute, let me get back over to Discord. So this market pulse in here. So we had the bid in here pushing pretty high and underneath here. This is where this market pulse tool is really great. It's giving us insight to something in here, where in here, this little green area in here, it's this buying that came in on the bid in here. Even though we have high liquidity here, the market pulse tool it starts to hit over the 70% in here once this liquidity starts to come in here, just in here, and then we see the market pulse tool go up above. Okay, there's some exhaustion, some sellers. Okay, let's see, crash has some content in here to go through. Stuff. Crash, fill out your spreadsheet. Just take this, copy and paste the link and make sure you put it in your spreadsheet, right? You get the credit for it. Matches your 5-minute pullback. Okay, so you're looking at the NASDAQ in 720. Hold on just a minute. So I think you're on the east or west coast, right? So probably here. Yeah, this pullback here. There you go. Beauty. Yeah, one of the things like Caddy that to again to lean on in the pull on these pullbacks in here, even though you may see this high supply starting to come in like this, we really want to lean on all of this activity back here, because even this might be really kind of scary here for a minute, but it might be really short-lived because there's so many other traders in here long buying that this is really kind of a drop in the bucket. Well, it's more than a drop in the bucket, but it kind of really shakes people out, gets them going maybe the wrong way, and then the buyers can come back in and then squeeze them to the upside. Okay, so that's kind of the key in here, like we had talked about with. I just want to reiterate it again and again. Again, with the flag pattern in here that we went through, this continuation pattern of leaning on all of this behavior in here. So, for example, look for an entry on the. So, for example, the pullback once the leaning on the squeeze from the consolidation. Okay, the first impulse move here is strong. The pullback is shallow. It's minor. It's on low volume. It's not even half or less than half of the move back. There's liquidity up underneath here. Okay, this is in the diagram form, but that's where we're looking for these buyers to come back in and it curl back in and start to move that market for the second impulse move. So we're reading this in here compared to this here, right? And we're leaning on this any transactions in here to get squeezed as well. So really, understanding that context in here and that people are bidding up underneath and we have low volume on the sell side, right? So this might even pick up in here, like we're just looking at that example. It might even pick up in here and look kind of scary, but you're leaning on all of this in here. Now you're just waiting for the buyers to come over on the other side, and that helps confirm it. So now you know that there's potential for the squeeze again here from these sellers. Okay, so again, leaning on the previous behavior to give us insight. Yeah, good stuff, Crash. I love your content. Yeah, and you got your market pulse, volume pressure and balance in here, giving you that insight as well. Yep, just great. I love this market pulse volume pressure algo. I think it's just excellent. I know you guys, a lot of you guys have embraced it. We have new algos in here, and that's what I'm trying to cover, and also give you guys access to these so you can start to create some content on it and maybe find an edge as well, right? Because there's a lot of ideas in here with all these really simple little algos with this market pulse tool. Let's see, someone was asking earlier about the imbalance in the order book and the order flow, right? So we can take a look at that here using this support and resistance imbalance, okay? Or I think, like I said, we're going to rename it. But we really want to understand the order books in here, and we can look at, we showed the example using the dome and looking at a book stack, right? And then we can look at this here as a simplified version of it. So now here we go. Look at this move into high liquidity. Okay, buyers starting to come in. Now it's up at the top of the range. I don't like that, but the book is starting to show some interest. Okay, so looking for a bit of buying and then a move up into 17 here. Okay, the thing I don't like about this here is the entry here, right? It would be up here at the top of the range, and this can happen here, right? Is you get we get the sharp moves back down, but we look how we got the support here in the order book, right in here. So again, looking now for buyers again up here. Now I like it here. This is not a bad entry up in here. It's not as bad, I should say. And the reason being is we have this selling now. If we can get the buyers to squeeze them now, right up into here. And we had some buying. It did auction here. I'm looking for a return back up. And we're going to really read this. We're looking for something good here. And then we would look for the move back up into almost 17 here. 17 liquidity here. Okay, no, more supply, able to take it down through that liquidity. Okay, so maybe they'll take it down into, see the move down into about this 11 3/4. Okay, let's take a look for this idea again of a pullback here by the dip type of thing. Okay, now, Caddy, what in here do you see that looks very, very different in this kind of, it's a medium-term picture or time frame that doesn't make this look so good for a pullback any longer for buying? Okay, buy the dip type of idea. Okay, there's something in here. The bubble sizes, well, yeah. Look at the volume bars here. Okay, so there's a lot of buying in here, which is good. I mean, they're controlling the narrative again. But look at all the selling in here now. Okay, that wasn't the case back over in here in some of these other areas. Okay, it just wasn't. It was just very low selling and then a lot more buying. I mean, a quick move here was sell side, but and then it was just more buying, right? So yeah, there was some selling up in, well, that was the high. Yeah, I mean, look at this in here. I mean, there's just no question about it, right? This is easy. I feel much easier. They're just telling you. I mean, the buyers are telling you. The sellers are also telling you, like, they're not too interested. Okay. Now, if we go to the current market, see in here, it's pretty muddled. In fact, we don't see too much buying. Just this big move in here, and just a little pocket in here, right? So I wouldn't look for buying the dip in here. In fact, this move down to the bottom of the range makes pretty good sense. Okay, again, context, understanding this context in here. Yeah, bubble size though, there's a good thought, really good thought. It's more kind of cumulative, to be honest. This is where your cumulative volume delta you might want to take a look at. I mean, look at the cumulative volume delta starting to really drop in here due to all this selling in here, right? You can look at it in the dots, I mean the bars and the dots as well. Okay, so cumulative volume delta, even look at the divergence in here, in fact. Okay, here's the previous swing low here in cumulative volume delta. We're below that due to all of this selling in here. Now, we can look for something in here, very specific actually. We would look for maybe another trap in here. Okay, so let's take a look here. Where did that selling? It's kind of in this little range in here. Okay, well, if we can get our buyers back up above it, the squeeze will be on to probably trade back up to here, or maybe you know, even back up to 17, or this liquidity here above the swing. Okay, here they come, and now it's on for the buyers. If they can lift this here. Okay, do they have the order book underneath it? A little bit here. Okay, here's a little bit of a pullback. All right, buyers, let's see it up here. And let's see the squeeze. You got it. Here we go. A bit higher. Go up, get up to the swing, or 15. Okay, order book on our side as well. Beautiful to hear that. There's our move to 15 right there. Okay, now this happened really quickly, right? But we again, we look for these scenarios, and we have to go through these scenarios first, because we don't know what to look for if we don't go through the scenario. All right, and we are only looking for it to come up to here for right now. Now that might change, right? But there's just the selling is, there's still more selling in here, right? So we're just looking for that little squeeze move in here, so in the move up into 15. Okay, and then we'll reassess after that. All right, makes sense. Potential flag pattern in here. Squeeze. Now let's go through our checklist in here though. Hold on, where is it? Bookmap checklist, there it is. Okay. Lovely. Okay. And this is an older one in here. This is the what I gave to the developers, but I have a new one for the flag pattern. And that's not it. There it is. Okay. All right. Okay, identify the trap. We already did that. It was there. Well, it wasn't the best, but it was there. Okay. Pull back, low volume on the sell side. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, I'm looking again right now for these buyers up here. Now we just don't have the bidding up underneath again. We might get another rotation back down here before that. So we develop a scenario here. We're looking for 17 or 18 here for the completion of that flag or measured move. Okay, so our measured move would be this, here to here, right? And see, I'm trying to go through this quickly. Steep move, yep, not bad. Give it an 8. Trap traders, maybe like a 6 or a 7 in here. Let's give it a 7. For this move, for this small move. Measured move, yeah, we've got that. Absorption up in here, yeah, we've kind of got that. I'd give it more like a 6 or a 7. Minor pullback, not bad. I mean, it's more than 50% probably, or around there. So we'll check it, but maybe a 6 or a 7. Let's give it a 6. And then entry on the volume after absorption. So we didn't get absorption. We don't have that order book in here again, right? So you know that we can't check, or we can say we don't have it and give it a low score. All right, so that's not good. And then, let's see here. Let's complete this. Okay, so yeah, we're looking for the move here. We're getting our buyers here. They're pulling up here. We're looking for it, but it's just not as strong as we just went through the whole process here. And some of it was pretty decent, and then other parts were not. I mean, clearly this a volume after absorption or exhaustion in here, that really hurt the pattern. So we're looking for an 8 or higher in here, and we got a 6 out of it. All right, so we pass. Okay, now look, this is just a guide in here. Really study these things and use this to your advantage in here to help you stay out of bad trades and take good trades. I think you can find it really helpful. Now if let's suppose that you're more advanced, and you're kind of beyond maybe some of these guides. You're interested in taking the trade because you're still looking for this to come up here. You just reduce your size a lot. Okay, if you trade the E-mini, we'll trade maybe a micro or two instead. Okay, and then reduce your risk immediately. It's a consideration, because we don't have all the pieces in here. Okay, the best thing to do would just be pass on it. All right. So anyway, yeah, now we had the pullback here again, and still looking for it, but I don't like it as much. Here we have the order book here. Let's see if we get our buyers here. We should. Yep. All right. Let's see it, buyers. Buyers actually took those guys on, or sellers took those guys on. It's still looking for that auction up here though, and not getting it. Okay. All right. So anyway, this is how you can develop a plan, trading plan, and a setup for yourself. Okay, check these boxes. Look for these things in the order flow. Okay, so we're looking for our second impulse move in here. Now this is the entry part right here. After that, we're looking for a second impulse move, targeting our high liquidity. We already put our targets in, and then we're looking for our exit after this here. Okay, but we don't have enough even here to take the trade. Or for the trade setup. All right. Okay, we got the order book underneath us here now. Okay, and they're still coming in on the offer a bit. We're getting our buyers though. Okay, they see the auction up here. We can auction up there again. We have likelihood for the extension. And it can't even get up there. All right, let's see here. Something else I wanted to go through. Well, one more thing on this this little checklist here. We went over the other day. I think it was Friday. We went through momentum moves, and impulse moves in here, and it's not for a setup in here. It's just grading the strength of a move, and this was I think really good. And I recommend that if you're kind of new to trading, start with something very, very simple here. It's good for veterans as well, to really understand the details in the order flow in your impulse moves. Okay, it will really there's so much flexibility that you can do with this. Large price movement. All right, so we're going over this one in here. In this time frame here, for that time frame, it wasn't bad. Okay, now it's not that good of a move either. It's, did it have high volume on it, or is the angle steep? Yeah, I mean, the angle steep, that's for sure, right? We can give that like a 9. What about the relative volume on it? Okay, the delta. Okay, well, the delta is not bad relative to other areas in here. It would be great to see it like this, the biggest bar, but it's not. Okay, but it's not bad either. So we can rate that one in here maybe like a 7 or an 8. And the consistent strong volume. Okay, yeah, it was pretty good, pretty consistent. Had some selling up here though. Okay, we like to see it just really strong buying up into high liquidity, and then we look for the shallow pullback, minor pullback, and then the continuation here. Okay, so our move is finally working here, but we really didn't. We were looking for it to work out in one of these areas in here, okay, and we didn't quite get that. It took a while for it to work out. Now it makes sense though, because what we're looking for in grading this in here, we didn't quite get all those pieces. Okay, and we're still looking for it to do it, but it took its time in here, and a big seller didn't come in and disrupt the entire pattern in here, okay, which can happen a lot, right? So we're getting our follow through in this move now too, okay, and nice momentum. So our 20 level would be the next target here. So let's go through it again in here. All right, and then consistent strong volume. See how this one has consistent and strong volume here. Okay, right into and through high liquidity. Move away from consolidation. Target higher liquidity at 20. Smaller moves. Study the small moves. Okay, this is an important one, studying the small moves within the impulse move, like in here. Okay, we get the breakout, a pause, strong breakout. Okay, a bit of a pullback in here, but look at these little areas in here. Like there's a bit of a pause in here, not much. It's more this liquidity in here, but the sellers are able to drop it just a little bit below it in here. Right, or this area here as a pullback here is not a bad idea. Okay, maybe even here. And there's our auction. Buyer should be able to take this to 20 now at this point. And a bit more buying. Yeah, there we go. There's our 20. All right, so it pulled back too, right? But here's what we had here, and this is why we liked it, or called that at that moment, because it auctioned up here. Now, not a whole lot, but it auctioned up here. It came back and started auctioning up here again, looking pretty good, right? We know the liquidity is here, and we're also relying on the stronger move in here. Okay, so we had those elements, so we'd look for the move into 20. It came up kind of shy of it, pulled back, and then finally did it. Right now, everything's shifted and changed now. 20 has been achieved, and we're going to look at what is going to happen at this point. Okay, now this, because we're looking at our higher, longer time frame here. This is a huge move. Just huge. This is one of the biggest candles on the daily here. And there's still more buying here. Anyway, guys, I wanted to go through. Let me see if there's any more questions, and if not, then okay. Yeah, guys. Well, please, I guess you probably have reached out to support at bookmap.com. I mean, we don't know what's going on over there, but between Schwab and Thinkorswim as they transition and move the accounts over there. Okay, I believe you have to resubscribe to Bookmap over there on Thinkorswim. Can I show the trap trader, Jean-Luc? Sure. Yeah, and then I also want to go through the this market pulse with the support and resistance again, because I think there's some good stuff in here. Just still playing around with it to find these things. But there was the trap trading in here, right? And let's get our bigger picture perspective as well. We know we're in an uptrend, right? We're looking for the move in here for that potential move higher. It sold off into this level down here, and or I'm sorry, was it? Yeah, we were looking for it in here, and we didn't quite get it. We did get some of it, but yeah, I can't recall what we had discussed here. So anyway, we got the move down in here, and then we know that oh yeah, this is what I remember saying, like the CVD, like this in here was very different in a look here in the delta. We have the all the selling in here, okay, where we do have this nice impulse move here, right? But all of this selling in here. Then we went through, well, okay, well, if all the selling is in here and the CVD is down quite low, right? So we saw that, huge move here, equal low, however, more selling and failing to get that market lower. But it's this selling in here is the potential trap. Okay. Now that's probably a stop run as well. It's not. Interesting. Okay, so we have our selling in here, and then this is where we want to note, okay, where that selling here, trying to drive that market lower, is going to have to cover. And then we went through this scenario in here of like identifying the sellers, and then identifying a scenario here if we can get buyers up above. Then we're looking for the move up into top of the range or where those sellers came in and the high liquidity in here. And we're looking for to pull away from these sellers here. Okay, so we got that, and then we started to go through our flag pattern. Okay, and we started to grade this in here, and it just wasn't that great. We're still looking for this move, okay, and we got it. And then we're looking for, again, this move up into 20, I think, at that point. But you can start to look again here for that strong move. And we started to identify that. Like, this is better volume in here. This is cleaner, better to understand in here, easier to understand. Okay, so it traded up into 20. And then we thought, let's see, this move is rather done. Yeah. Okay, so Now look at the order flow shift in the change here. Okay, can you guys see it? Really starts here. Okay. So look at the shift and look at the change. This is how reversals take place. Sellers. Buyers over here, some back and forth in here. Okay. High liquidity, high liquidity, high liquidity. We're at a higher time frame level up at 20. And we can see the shift in the change here. Okay, so high liquidity on the offer, all the way down now. And then on the bid, getting filled on the way down as well. All right, so here's our reversal. Okay, here's our buyers, our sellers. This is the back and forth. Now this is what you call, or what Wyckoff calls, distribution. Okay, this back and forth in here. Now we're looking for who's winning, and we can see the shift in the change here, right here. And now that is the high as well. And a lot of times that's exactly what it is. You'll see the shift in the change. Everything on this side in here is mostly buying. Everything on this side in here is mostly selling. All right, so at this point in here, we're looking for the sellers to start to come in and then drive it back down to some of the swings in here. Okay. All right, and this is how order flow though can assist, understanding the shift in the change. The beauty here in order flow is you know, a lot of other trading books or people on YouTube, they'll talk about, they're basically talking about order flow, but they're so far away from it though. They'll talk about a candlestick pattern. They won't look at the heat map, or they don't have a heat map. They don't even have volume dots. They may have volume bars, and they may refer to it. They don't even have best bid and offer. And let's look at a smaller time frame candle. Hold on. Let's look at a 1 minute. Okay. And they'll talk about order flow up here in terms of the candle pattern. Right, here's a doji. Okay, well, this is a breakout right here. It closed back up above it. Okay, well, here's some back and forth. Here's your doji. Okay, here's your swing, retesting back up here. This is where it fails. And then you get this move and close here on the 1 minute chart. I think this is just ridiculous to understand. I mean, the order flow is kind of within here. We'll turn on the volume and the price action and the liquidity. But first off, this is a time of 1 minute, a period, and the market doesn't care about that whatsoever. Right? So you're reading like it's kind of like, I don't know, what would be the analogy in here? Like you're trying to read something through another device, and you're not reading it directly, and then you're assuming that because of this candlestick pattern in here that this is a reversal. These things fail all the time. The order flow though, combined with this, will tell you if it's going to fail or not. Okay, most likely. Right, so for example, let's look for, we're down here where these buyers came in and moved it. Okay, right, so now we're going to look at the volume though, because I don't care about the candle, I care about the volume. Right, what's the volume doing down here? And we'll come back and look at this. I just want to go through it in real time. Right, so well, I don't see buyers coming in yet at all. right? So I'm not interested in this at all on the buy side, okay? Not until we can get back up above this. Let's just suppose we're trading candlestick patterns and we see our buyers. Now we are. Okay. All right, buyers, then let's see you retest back up here at 17. Is that enough buying in here? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not bad. Look at the bars down here. Right? So now we're just peaking above the last two periods in here, and we're still seeing buyers here. So we're still getting a bit of a push here. Okay, so still looking for up just up to here. That's it. 17, top of the range. Okay, our support and resistance is telling us something here too. Okay, so let's turn on now the heat map. Right. Okay, now the heat map tells us a lot. Let's turn on best bid and offer as well. The heat map tells us a lot because we didn't know that previously. Like, why didn't it come up into 17 immediately? Well, there's liquidity here. This is starting to trade into it here. Now look at it though. It's auctioning up here. They're on the bid and they're starting to pull a little bit on the offer. Great. Well, not only do we think we can go to 17, we might be able to go to 18 and 1850 now. Okay, on the bid, buyers. And let's see now, what about candlesticks? Swing is up here actually, 18 and a quarter. Okay. How's that buying up here? Not too strong. Still in play. There we go, much stronger. Okay, that's good. Order book is not really following up, but they're underneath here at 16 and 16 and a quarter a little bit. You can see it. And now that pattern is failing. Okay, so here we are below the swing. And yeah, coming back down into about 15. Yeah, it was short-lived. We were looking for the higher move in here because of the volume and yeah, didn't play out. Now look where it didn't play out. The seller's coming in here. Okay, so again, where I started off on all of this was talking about the shift in the change in the order flow, and then the shift in the change. Let's take the candles off for just a minute and we'll put them back on. Where do we note it here? Okay, the shift in that change. Okay, it's also in the market structure. And now the market structure is the most relatable element to the candles, about higher highs, higher lows, or the opposite. All right, so anyway, there's high liquidity being filled here, which means it is absorbing the buying pressure. And then we have a bit more buying up here, but the sellers come in. A bit more buying up here, the sellers come back in and move this lower. Right, so this is where we see the shift in the selling. Now there's some selling in here, but it's still mostly buying. Okay, so so anyway, we start to see that shift now in the order flow. All right, now if we overlay the candlestick pattern into your candlestick pattern trader, yeah, I would say like somewhere in here looks pretty good. I would maybe look for a slight pullback in here, maybe to about 19 and 3/4 or maybe 20 again, and then I would have missed it. Right, but then down here, yeah, we do get our selling starting to come back in. We get a flip of the order book right in here as well. But your candle confirmation is this bar here. Right, so yeah, and we would have been looking like somewhere in here probably. Boy, pretty tricky in here, to be honest. There's a lot of back and forth in here in the order flow. But anyway, we're looking for that clarity to confirm whatever patterns you're looking at. If it's candlestick, if it's volume profile, etc. Okay. So now we had to come back down here, and we came back up again. And then do you see the volume in here on this candle here? This looks pretty good, right? I would look for that move up into 18 now, and 18 and 50. Okay, well, let's see, where else might it go? Yeah, no, I like 1850 as the first stop here. Maybe 20 is on the radar here. Well, let's look at, what are we leaning on in here? Not bad, not bad. Buying looks pretty good. Okay, so we're looking then for a move, a pullback, and then a continuation move. Okay, because the buying looks pretty good. We're leaning on this buying in here for that continuation move. Oh yeah, something I wanted to show in here. The order book in balances here. Seller's taking it all the way back down again. Okay, selling starting to pick up as well. Anyway, the order book and balance. So this one here, let's go through the settings, is on the delta 5-minute period of sliding data, constant data. Half-life period, every 10 seconds, it retraces half the distance based off of the first 4 levels or ticks being the most important. The next 4 will be half as important, and the next 4 after that will be half as important as the previous one. So this is looking for pretty much the inside market, right? Well, we can add another one in here, and we can look at the, let's add that one other one. And I'm going to change the setting in here, and we're going to make it well. Let's make it quite a bit bigger, 128. No, let's make it 64. So 64 levels in here are the most important, right? There's still 5 minutes and 10-second half-life, but in terms of price levels, the first 64 are going to be the most important, right? So we're going to look at a much bigger book. Right, we have full depth of market here with Rhythmic. So let's take a look at that, and let's compare and contrast. The big book here on the right-hand side, the inside book on the left side. Right, now this is the same idea as you can look at in your dome. Okay, we demoed this the other day, and for those of you trading the dome, you can look at your inside book and here on the bid, right, and then here on the offer. Okay, so how does it look? Well, I see on the offer or on the bid here, you know, there's a little bit of depth here. And what about the inside? Not bad, not bad. Okay, well, what about on the offer here? Well, they're kind of up here at this level here. The book is pretty stacked here. The longer time frame book up here, right? And now they're showing actually here also with some size just starting to come in here. It looks like on the offer. All right, hard read right now. If there was a bit more on the inside here on the offer, I'd look for it to go lower based off of the dome and reading the this market pulse tool in here. All right, let's see it. Let's see it, sellers. Starting to show something. Yeah, inside book starting to ramp up. Okay, And then we can target this 15 level here, right? Because that's where the liquidity is. Now, this is how it translates to the heat map. Right here, 15's right here. It's this liquidity, 238. And then below that, a few ticks, 213, and then 256 here at 14. Yeah, the book is still more stacked here on the offer. Just looking for that inside market now. And now this is just pure order flow reading. Okay, we're not looking at the transactions. We're just reading the order book. Okay, a bit more. Let's see it now. It's starting to show a bit more in here. And let's see if we can get now the sellers, the aggressors, to hit the bid here. Still more stacked here on the offer. Our market pulse tool is not showing that actually right now. Okay, just waiting for the sellers to come in now. See if they can. And we're just going off the order flow again. I'm not reading the transactions in here. Okay, now look at the book here now. There it goes. Now it's starting to stack a bit more. Okay, now getting very aggressive underneath here in the book. Now these are passive orders, but they're very close here, right? So that's what we're reading to the best bid and offer. And let's see if these sellers can show up and bring it back down to about 15. Again, they're showing on the offer here. Okay, sellers, let's see, 15. We're still looking for this move down to about 15. Now look at the book now, right? I mean, the order flow is always shifting and changing. Okay, but we're looking at the stack in here. Stacking in here, and then how that relates to price movement. And believe me, it does. Orders make up the market. It is the transactions in this context between the orders that make the difference here. I mean, without the orders or order flow, there is no market. All right, sellers, looking over at Bookmap here, here's a sell cluster. Now we're looking for the move down into 15. Okay, so what does the book tell us here? Not much. Not much. It's telling us earlier, but now not much. Yeah, I personally just would rather read the heat map. I find it much easier. But anyway, almost got to 15. Now the book is starting to shift. Okay, both the market pulse tools are shifting. Okay, we see the book stack on the bid a bit more. Anyway, guys, just still playing around with these tools in here. If you want free access to them, you can get them. You go to bookmap.com, and you will have to sign up for the Academy. Go to the More button here, and then under the community here, go to Bookmap Academy, and you can read about this and sign up. And basically, you document your content, and then you can get access to some of these tools, as well as the Bookmap Academy meetings. And you can also earn and get Bookmap for free as well if you make it up into the Academy. You'll start off in the Junior Academy. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll look on Friday and see how this plays out. But bigger picture is we're not looking for much really up to this swing up in here. The move has been made on that big candle. So if you weren't in it earlier in the easier moves, well, now it's likely just going to be pretty choppy for the rest of the day. I imagine. The outside move is beautiful, but the range has been already been established here, or reached its limit, or over its average, I should say that. So all right, we'll end it up. Thanks for coming, and we'll catch up with you on Friday then. All right. Yeah. Take care. Bye bye.